All right, we are going to do 3, 2. This is going to be really short, so hopefully I don't go too fast. This is just the warm-up based on what we did. So when we're writing a formula, remember we're going to use descriptive variables. So we're going to use letters that describe what we're talking about. So the area of a circle is, so we're going to use A equals. The product means to multiply, pi, and the radius squared. So we need the radius, which we're going to use r, because that's our descriptive variable, and we already have pi. So we're multiplying pi and the radius squared. And that's it. Descriptive variables. All right, we're going to solve equations using addition and subtraction. This should be review. I'm going to do 4 with you, and then you're going to do several on your own without the video. So the addition property of equality tells us that if we take something that's already true and we add the same thing to both sides, you get something that's new, but that's still true. So it says 7 equals 7. So we start with something you absolutely know is true. 7 is equal to 7. It's the exact same number. You add 3 to both sides. So you take that equation and you add the same thing to both sides. And then that gives you 10 equals 10. So we still have a new equation, or a true equation. It's new. They're not the same numbers they were before, but as long as we keep it balanced and we do the same thing to both sides of the equal sign, we get true statements. Okay? Property holds true for subtraction as well. Same thing. You start with something that's true, 7 equals 7. You know that. You do the same thing to both sides by subtracting 3. And you get a whole new equation of 4 equals 4. It's still true, it's just different. So if you add or subtract the same number to both sides of the equal sign, as long as you keep it balanced, you're going to end up with a true statement. That's the whole basis of solving equations. You should keep everything balanced, but to get something by itself. So, inverse operations. So the opposite of addition, hopefully we know, is subtraction. Okay, so if you have 2 and you subtract 2, you get 0, right? It just goes away. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so it's the same. They're opposites of each other. So that's like saying you have -2 and you're going to add 2 and then you get 0, so it goes away. The whole point is to get rid of it. Okay? So we have to use our inverse operations to solve equations. You're going to use you must isolate, which means to get by itself. And you're going to isolate your variable by using inverse or opposite operations. These are the 3 questions you have to ask yourself, okay? What is my variable? So you need to figure out what letter you're trying to solve for, okay? What is happening to the variable? Meaning, are we adding 2? Are we subtracting 5? Are you multiplying by 3? Whatever you're doing, what's happening to that variable? And then the last question is, what's the opposite of that? So if you're adding 5, what's the opposite of adding 5? Subtracting 5. So you just ask yourself these questions to walk yourself through how to solve them. Okay? So number 1. We have m minus 48 equals 29. So the first question is, what's my variable? Well, the variable is m. That's the letter. Okay? The second question is, what's happening to the variable? Well, we're subtracting 48 from it. Okay? And then what's the opposite of subtracting 48? Because you want to make sure you get it all by itself on that left-hand side. So the opposite of subtracting 48 is adding 48. And when you do that, on the left, negative 48 plus 48 is 0. So it cancels, which is the goal, right? We want to get it by itself. All that leaves us with is m equals. On the right-hand side, you just have to add 29 and 48, which gives you 77. And then you're done. Okay, we're only doing one-step equations and we're only doing addition and subtraction today. Okay, so it should be relatively simple. Number 2 says 21 plus q equals negative 18. So what's my variable? Q. What's happening to my variable? We are adding 21 And the opposite of that would be subtracting 21. You have to be a little careful here because this addition sign is not necessarily why we're subtracting 41 or 21. We're subtracting 21 because this 21 is positive. The only way to move a positive number is to subtract it over. So we're going to subtract 21 because it's positive from both sides of the equal sign. On the left, 21 minus 21 is 0. So you're left with a positive q equals. On the right, you just have to do negative 18 minus 21, which is just negative 39. And now you're done. Number 3, same concept. Our variable is d, and d is being added to a positive 142. So again, since that 142 is positive, the only way to move it is to subtract it. So you're going to subtract 142 from both sides. On the left, 142 minus 142 is gone, and you're just left with a positive d equals, and then you just do 97 minus 142, which leaves you with a negative 45. Do not let fractions scare you, okay? That's why you've got a calculator. It's not that bad. It's the same process. So what's our variable? G. And what's happening to G? It is being added to 3/4, okay? What's the opposite of adding 3/4? Subtracting 3/4. So it doesn't matter that it's a fraction. It's the exact same questions. It's the exact same line of thought. On the left, 3/4 minus 3/4 is 0. So you just have G equals, which is what we wanted. On the right, you have a negative 1/8 minus 3/4. So you just do negative ABC 1, or negative 1 ABC 8 minus 3 ABC 4. And then your calculator will tell you that's negative 7/8. Okay? That's it. You are doing these 5 on your own. You have to do this page before you turn your notes in, or you will not get full credit. So make sure you do those 5 questions. Once you have those done, you don't have to worry about Nearpod. You are going to do your 3-2 worksheet. And if you need anything, let me know.